Hey everybody, Josh Peck here. Hope you're doing well. Well, there's another report that kind of goes along with what we were talking about yesterday about these UFO sightings. Well, we were talking yesterday. We were talking about USO sightings, so UFOs basically under the water. But in that, I asked the question like, do you think these are aliens? Do you think these are fallen angels slash demons, or do you think that it's us? Is it human beings, maybe foreign countries that have access to advanced technology, or maybe our own country, or is it a combination? And you all put your comments in and everything. But now we have a new report, which this is really interesting. So the headline comes from the Sun. It says bombshell footage shows mystery UFO-like aircraft being tested in secret experiments at U.S. weapons base Skunk Works. So it says for years, the testing facility has been known for housing secret projects or secret objects due to its history of developing classified technology. So this is the actual video. It comes from investigative YouTuber Anders Ottesen, and he told The Sun how he camped on public land overlooking defense firm Lockheed Martin's Helendale radar testing facility, where he filmed the unknown object. So check this out and we'll talk about it. It's crazy.
After I'd gone into my tent for the night
Let me start that over.
At some point, after I'd gone into my tent for the night, in the early hours of the morning, they'd replaced the model that had been on the pole the night before with something different. This wasn't that thin triangle that I'd seen before. My tripod still had the night vision and spotting scope setup attached to it for my night viewing the night before, so I quickly grabbed my camera and shot handheld for the rest of this.
Yeah, look at that.
Wow, it's hard to tell what that thing is at this distance, especially through all the heat haze, but it looks pretty crazy. They got it rotating on that pylon pretty fast too.
It makes you wonder what they're doing, because look at that. If you can imagine,
Looks like potentially like an upside down fuselage of maybe a drone, or well, the pole just kind of tilted back, so I'm thinking that means it's about to retract down below.
if you can imagine, like imagine it without the pole, if you can imagine seeing that flying around in the sky or even underwater or something, I mean, it makes sense why somebody would assume that that's an alien craft, when really maybe it's just, maybe some of it at least is just our technology.
Boy, I caught this thing just in time because I haven't been watching it here for very long. Yep, there it goes. They're starting to pull it back under, down into the prep chamber. Wow, it's so crazy to see it retract.
It makes you wonder, like how they're testing it, why it's on that pole, how they're retracting it like that, what this thing is even for.
The first thing I noticed was a light appeared on the ground. It was too faint for me to see with the naked eye, but through my nods it showed up very bright. This was indicating to me that the hatch was most likely opening to the underground silo.
Sure enough, an aircraft emerged from below. So yeah, you can kind of see it again there.
Wow, this looks crazy. They got it rotating up there on that pylon.
Yeah, so they put it up there again, it's rotating again.
The security truck down there making another pass. I don't know why they have their hazards on.
Anyway, you get the idea. It's really weird, but so there's a picture of it. There's a couple of pictures of it from the video that we just saw. But it says the footage shot from a distance shows what appears to be a dark wing-shaped object mounted at the top of a white pillar. It was inside the premises of Lockheed Helendale, a facility used by the firm's secretive Skunk Works division, which is in the middle of a remote desert. Skunk Works is the official pseudonym of the U.S. defense company's Advanced Development Programs, ADP, which develops top-secret aircrafts and weapons. And it says, for years, the testing facility has been known for housing secret objects due to its history of developing classified high-tech aerospace technology. So, again, that makes me wonder, like, we clearly have more advanced technology than what we know about, right? Because the government's not going to announce that to everybody, and I'm sure a lot of countries have that. So we were looking at the submersible UFOs yesterday, and the question came up, what if this was China or Russia? And and what's being done about it, right? Or what if it's just us testing our own things? And again, that makes you wonder how many of the sightings that people are seeing and claiming that they're UFOs, how many of them are us, how many of them are, fallen angels or demons or, whatever. But it says some of America's most groundbreaking classified aircraft, including the U-2 spy plane, the SR-71 Blackbird, and the F-117 Nighthawk stealth fighter, are known to have been developed at this facility. And secrecy surrounding Skunk Works projects has fueled public speculation and conspiracy theories that the organization is involved in reverse engineering alien technology. Throughout the clip, the object, which resembles an aircraft fuselage, can be seen floating on top of the pillar as if it were being radar tested. In one frame, a distinct blue area can be spotted on its upper surface. Mr. Odison, who runs a YouTube channel to document remote secret sites across the U.S., said it could be an advanced aircraft technology being tested. He told The Sun, quote, "It could be something that is in an early stage of development. It could be a new manned fighter or a new drone. It could also be a model that is developed specifically for a test. Say they're going to test a new type of paint or a particular component," end quote. There's something here, too. They have this video in here. It says Trump announces Boeing wins contract for Air Force's secretive future fighter jet. So here's what Trump had to say about that.
And I'm thrilled to announce that at my direction, the United States Air Force is moving forward with the world's first sixth-generation fighter jet. Number sixth generation. Nothing in the world comes even close to it.
Donald Trump has announced his plans to develop the most lethal fighter jet in history, and he has named it after himself. The US Commander-in-Chief revealed his project for the jet that will be called F-47, named after his presidency.
Right.
Speaking to reporters...
So you pretty much get that. We don't have to watch the whole video. But so we know that they're working on some things. Now, obviously, making a public announcement about a fighter jet is different than secretive, possible UFO programs or who knows what. Maybe they back engineered something that they found, but this just shows what we're being told publicly, and then contrast it against what is being tested in secret. So it says the investigative YouTuber who has filmed near classified facilities, including the infamous Area 51, also linked the Skunk Works team to alien technology. A slew of conspiracy theories suggest that many projects at the facility involve reverse engineering tech whose origins are extraterrestrial. And this is something we talked about yesterday, too. I don't believe that these are extraterrestrials. I don't believe they're aliens. But it could be, it makes you wonder. These craft can supposedly, the story is that these craft can get here from light years away, and they can make it all through space, all through the micrometeorites, and travel potentially near the speed of light or faster than the speed of light. They can do all that, but a lot of times when they get to Earth, they crash, and it makes you wonder, why is that? Why do these things crash so much? I think it's intentional. I think just like when you read in the Book of Enoch how when the angels fell, when the Watchers fell, when they came down to Earth, they taught man, technology, weapons, they taught man all this stuff. Well, I think in a way, they're doing that again, but instead of directly teaching humanity, they're just crashing their own technology so then we have it and we can back engineer it. And really, they're doing that to our own destruction. I mean, look at just the kinds of evils that have been done just with the invention of the internet. And of course, a lot of good things have come out of it too. We can preach the gospel. I can have a show like this, and I can tell people all over the world about Jesus Christ and salvation through Him, and that's great. But think about all the untold evil that's come out of that as well. We as humankind tend towards evil when it comes to technology. Again, it doesn't mean it doesn't mean technology is inherently evil in all cases, but I think that fallen angels, they know our nature, they know that we'll destroy ourselves with this stuff, and I think that they're setting up a world for themselves to be able to deceive us even better. How much easier is it for people to be deceived now that the internet, again, is around. You know, it used to be if you had some crackpot with a crazy theory, if he walked into a church and said it, you know, no one would believe it. They cast him out, you know, and he wouldn't be able to really develop much of a following. But now that there's the internet, you can find communities in anything, literally anything. And any debauched lifestyle, any deception that somebody wants to believe in, you can find a community for that thing. So Untold Evil has come out of technology like this, so it makes sense that they might be offering that up to us. You know, building a so-called spacecraft, a UFO, whatever, and then crashing it on purpose so that we'll go recover it and we'll back engineer it and come up with all these innovations and new ways to basically destroy ourselves. It makes sense to me. But it says U.S. Officials and elected politicians are currently rallying for information about unknown objects flying in U.S. airspace, including one of Trump's top team, Marco Rubio. And there have been numerous high-profile hearings on the subject with suggestions that the U.S. has exotic technology held under wraps. I have no doubt about that, but what I question is the origin of it. Again, I don't think that these things are alien. And even if it wasn't something as drastic as fallen angels directly crashing craft and having us recover it, I talked about this yesterday. Isn't it interesting that out of nowhere there's been this big explosion in technology and advancements just in the past 100, 150 years or so? I think that's being demonically inspired, because that could, if it was just human ingenuity, we could have done that at any time. We had access to the same materials we've always had access to. We have the same brains, you know, for the most part. If anything, our brains are a little more degraded now than they would have been 1,000 years ago. But, you know, why didn't some other culture, like, you know, the Greeks, why didn't they have an industrial revolution? It kind of doesn't make sense unless you think about like what's inspiring these things. I don't think if we were just left alone, I don't think human beings would invent a lot of this stuff. Some of it, yeah, but I think a lot of this has been demonically inspired. Personally, I'd love to know your thoughts though. Maybe I'm way off. What do you think? Leave me a comment. Says Mr. Odison said, if the U.S. government possessed advanced or alien technology, Skunk Works would almost certainly be involved. He said, quote, the Helendale facility has a massive underground chamber below it that's 200 feet deep. It has spawned a lot of speculation about what other advanced projects might be working on in an underground facility like that. It's a good place to store advanced technology underground. That is partially why it was built to hide secrets from Soviet espionage. Any other kinds of technology that Lockheed may be in possession of, that'd be a place that they could store it, essentially. And then it says located northwest of Victorville, Lockheed Martin's Helendale facility was designed during the Cold War to protect America's next generation aircraft from prying eyes of the Soviets. And that, you know, that of course makes us think too, if we have access to this stuff, what other countries have access to it as well, and how are they using it? Do they have even more access than we do? Do we have more access? You know, we really don't know how any of this stuff works. But, you know, again, this in a big way is a continuation of what I talked about yesterday. But, of course, as always, I want to know what you have to say. Leave me a comment. Make sure you subscribe and click the bell to turn on all notifications. Also, if you'll notice where is it? Over there. Sorry, my camera's backwards. There. Okay, the banner right there. You have all the links. They're all in the description below. Yesterday I mentioned that I was going to, for these little daily update videos, that I was going to still try to do the transcript. I did that yesterday, and it was pretty awful. I mean, it's like it gives you a timestamp, and then it says, you know, like 6 or 7 words that I say. Then it gives you another timestamp like 3 seconds later, and it just goes on and on like that for pages. And I can't imagine that that's enjoyable to read. So unless a bunch of people say that they still want that anyway, I'm probably not going to do that for. I'm probably not going to do the transcripts for these updates. I'll still do them for sharpening report and things like that. But I think for these updates, you probably don't need them. Yeah, so make sure you subscribe, click the bell, go to dailyrenegade.com if you want access to all of our full videos, everything we do, including full episodes of Sharpening Report, videos that aren't available anywhere else like YouTube or Rumble because of censorship issues. Not so much with Rumble, but with YouTube for sure. And then the Substack is for if you want, and at dailyrenegade.com you can download a PDF of most things that has all my show notes on it. If you don't want to download a PDF, you can join the Substack, and that's the audio-only podcast plus the online blog, so you don't have to download anything. So check all that out, and yeah, make sure you subscribe, click the bell, turn on all the notifications. Probably the third time I said it. Probably don't need to say it that much. And yeah, I guess that is it for today. I want to know what you think. Please leave me a comment, and until next time, take care and God bless.